Hi, everybody. Welcome to another uEmpower Connect event. Today, we are so excited to introduce you to. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your work?
Yeah, so I am a fourth year medical student. I go to the University of South Florida. It's my last year of medical school, so I'm going to be set to graduate in a couple months. I'm going into dermatology, so a lot of the stuff that I do is very dermatology oriented, skin health education. So my interests within dermatology are rheumatology, so autoimmune disease, and pediatrics, women's health. So I try to focus my research and a lot of my social outreach in those areas. Most recently, I did publish a children's book on pediatric psoriasis. It's something that affected me in my childhood. And I just know that it would have been really helpful to just kind of get a rundown of what the diagnosis is like, just make it a little bit more approachable for parents and kids. And so that's how you guys found me. And I'm really happy to talk to you guys here today.
That's really cool. This field of dermatology is really cool. What inspired you to kind of follow this career path, and what got you interested in doing this?
Yeah, so I mean, going into medical school, I really didn't know what specialty I was going to pursue. Right off the bat, I kind of geared towards like pediatrics, OBGYN, dermatology, just because I thought I could relate to those specialties a lot in my own personal life and, my future goals and dreams and patient experiences. And then I just started delving more into dermatology. I started doing research. I got a mentor in the field. I started an institutional wide research study that tracks the body surface area that psoriasis affects in pregnant women over time. And that was kind of the first big thing that I did in dermatology. And I just remember feeling so accomplished that I'm like able to do something to further an interest that I care a lot about. And then so I've just been kind of investing more and more time and energy into that space. And I just really find that the people resonate well with me. So our personalities really match. And yeah, I just find a lot of the material really interesting. There's a lot about dermatology that we don't know yet, especially in rheumatology and autoimmune disease. It's all very complex. There's a lot of immunologic factors. And so I see it kind of as like a puzzle. Like, yeah, we have a lot of great treatments for the stuff that's out there, but what else can we do? What's the next step? So I think kind of honing in and like finding a niche area within dermatology that I felt that I could make a difference in was a really big reason why I went into that field.
That's amazing. And to expand on just like research, I think it's really cool that you're able to do research in dermatology specifically, because I was able to watch college students do research at the University of Alabama in PDAC and cancer cells. So I really saw how important that was and the different ways that they kind of look at different drugs and inputting all of that. So that's really cool. I wanted to ask, you've done research or in medical school, you've published a book. What is one of the most important projects or initiatives that you've worked on as a student?
Yeah, so I think two immediately come to mind. One is the children's book. That one is really, really important to me because it's an experience that I went through myself, and I kind of made the book for my younger self. So it's just really personally important to me. Secondly, about that, I had to work with so many different types of people. I did a lot of the writing and I had a lot of the ideas for the illustrations, but I still needed to talk to illustrators. I still needed to talk to publishers. I talked to dermatologists. I talked to pediatricians, family med practitioners. So I just got to interact with so many different type of people. It exposed me to a lot of things that aren't just dermatology, but relate to dermatology. So it really provided a well-rounded experience. And the other big thing I just mentioned is the institutional study that I started after my first year, mainly because that it's an IRB funded project. So it follows all the government guidelines on what a research study should be. So that was a really valuable experience as well because if you go into research and you want to do research, if you end up being a professor or something one day, you're going to be doing a lot of those. And so just having that initial exposure to, okay, what's it like to write an IRB protocol? How do we recruit patients in this study? What are the results that we're going to be measuring? Thinking about every single detail when you're designing a study is harder than it seems. And it's quite a simple study, but there's still a lot of pieces that needed to be put together. So I learned a lot there too.
Okay, that's really interesting. So I understand that you're a woman in a very male-dominated field, medicine. So how have gender stereotypes impacted your work?
it's really interesting. There are a lot of, there's definitely more men than there are women in medicine, historically speaking. But interestingly enough, dermatology is one of those very few fields that nowadays more women than men are going into dermatology. And, that comes with its own set of challenges because now you're in a little bucket of what a woman should be like, right? But in terms of how gender has maybe affected my experiences, I mean, if you just think about like networking connections, boys club is, always a thing, how guys always help guys. And nowadays there's certainly like women's societies. There's the Women's Dermatologic Society that really helps out women connect with each other. But otherwise it's really difficult to break into the space, even looking for research mentors, like most of them are male. And like, how do you get to those research mentors? It's by, having casual conversation, chatting at first, finding common ground. And then it's like, hey, do you have any projects that I can work on? Hey, would you be willing to do this for me? And it's easier when you have that relationship. So that was definitely difficult at first when I didn't know about the women's societies. But I would say medicine is definitely changing for the better. There's more women now than ever that are going into medicine. And so I think things are looking up, especially in dermatology.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that a lot of industries, like we can see kind of a change beginning, but we're still working towards like the greater change that we want to see. So, what's one challenging experience that you've maybe faced in your student life or your work life, and kind of how did you overcome this? And if you can't think of any, like, I guess, specific challenge, what advice do you have for maybe other women who are facing challenges in this field? Yeah.
Yeah, so I think definitely finding quality mentors who will see whatever it is you're seeking out until the end of the project is really important. When I was first looking for research mentors in medical school, the only mentor I was able to find who gave me a response was a woman who was going on maternity leave or was already on maternity leave. So like that came with its own set of challenges. And then ways to kind of navigate around that is just to kind of be persistent and don't be afraid to take initiative. Like, okay, your research mentor doesn't have any current projects. Maybe think of one of your own and be like, okay, if you don't have anything currently, maybe I can take the lead on this and you can just guide me on how to start something. Or just, you don't have to, finding a mentor is incredibly difficult. You're sending so many cold emails and getting no responses. So having persistence and patience is also really key. You have to be willing to just keep trying, keep trying, keep trying until something comes to fruition. And eventually it will, especially if you take your own initiative and start your own projects and stuff like that. But yeah.
Yeah, I think that in a lot of the women that we've interviewed and we've connected with young girls, that's been like a consistent message, like take the risk anyway, keep trying, like you might get a no, but you kind of just have to overcome it and just keep trying anyway. So
Mhm.
that's like something consistent that we've noticed from a lot of our women mentors.
Yeah, and also speaking on persistence, what skills do you believe are necessary to build and kind of improve in the field of medicine and even book writing as an author?
Yeah, so actually, interestingly enough, when I first matriculated into medical school, they had us read this book. I forget exactly what the title was called, but the idea of the book was that you need to have grit and resilience when you're trying to pursue something difficult. And it's really challenging because when you pursue a very difficult career path or anything difficult in life, you will have setbacks. You will have so many people telling you no, but you have to realize that the line to success is not always linear. In fact, it's usually not linear. You will fail many more times than you will succeed. And then ultimately one day you'll be at the top and be like, wow, look at how far I've come from where I was. And those changes come really slowly. Like the progress sometimes feel really slow. People take forever to get back to you. Sometimes one journal doesn't want to publish your article. Sometimes two journals don't want to publish your article, but you can submit it to another one. And one thing I really like about medicine is that really the possibilities are endless. One no does not define the value of your work, and that if you keep pursuing it, somebody will recognize it in the end. And you just have to have the grit and the passion to like be willing to keep following up, keep following up. You didn't hear something in 2 weeks. Okay, let's try again in another 2 weeks, or let's try somebody new. Having having the passion and interest to want to keep going and try a new route. Maybe the mentors at this school weren't responding to you, so let's try going to another university. Like there's nothing wrong with collaborating from outside your circle, and you might be surprised at the opportunities that'll present themselves.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like that message is important across all fields because even in different programs, let's say business, medicine, finance, all of the mentors are like anything that's difficult is like walking on nails, and you really have to persist and get through that to really meet your career output or whatever you want to gain. So I think that's really important to especially the young girls who are watching us that yeah, you have to persist through to meet your expectations and your goals.
Yeah.
So we understand you've written a book for on the field of dermatology. Could you like go further depth? Can you like explain what that book is about?
Yeah, so it's a children's book on pediatric psoriasis. Three poems and a short story. It tells the tale of a little girl named Pippa, and she had these rashes all over her body and was really not feeling good about it. She had a very tumultuous experience trying to get it diagnosed. It's been misdiagnosed, missed. And then she ultimately did get a correct diagnosis of pediatric psoriasis. Again, still wasn't feeling good because it's a scary diagnosis to have. It's an autoimmune condition to experience to have as a child, and children barely even understand what is an autoimmune disease, right? So the book is really about trying to show that it's not that scary. It has all these colorful, beautiful illustrations that show like there's lots of options for treatment. It's not necessarily painful, and there is another side to just the diagnosis, and that things do get better, and that hopefully with this book out, we can kind of reduce the stigma of having dermatologic disease, and the kids don't have to feel so embarrassed about, oh my God, I feel itchy. Oh my God, I have this weird rash. It's not contagious. It's just something that comes from within, and you deal with it one step at a time. With your family and your friends by your side. That's kind of the moral.
Yeah, and I think that what you are doing, like, with your book, I think that's so important because ultimately breaking that stigma is something that relates to so many different topics currently in our society. So I think
Mhm.
just learning how to kind of embrace who you are and the experiences that you've been gifted with and learning to grow with that and succeed with that, I think that lesson is so important for young girls. So on the line of inspiring, what are some inspiration or who are some inspirational women that you look up to in your life?
I look up to my mom. My mom is the first reason why I got interested in medicine in the first place. I remember being 7, 8 years old, and my mom was studying, going back to school. She was studying to be a medical assistant. And I just remember seeing her textbooks and seeing her books and being like, wow, this is so cool. Learning about the human body is so cool. So she's a big source of my inspiration. Another person I would say is actually my fiance's mom. She is an OBGYN. She's a doctor, and for a long time, I actually wanted to do OBGYN because of her, but dermatology just kind of caught my interest a little bit more. But she's also a huge inspiration to me. She's an incredibly successful woman, raised 3 kids, and like their family is still intact. And it's really difficult to be a woman in a high achieving career and also have that family balance. And so I really respect her a lot for it. A couple other people who've inspired me. I have research and mentors who really inspire me. I just think that their career progression has been something that I want to model my career after, and that's why they're my mentors. Yeah.
I love that your inspirations come within your family and also that you really prioritize the work-life balance because I feel like that's really scary for a lot of people that want to go into medicine, especially because you're scared of that work-life balance. So that's amazing. Do you have any advice for our audience that you'd like to share regarding anything, women empowerment or just medicine or writing in general?
I would say the biggest thing is like if you care about something, if you know you want to do something, do not give up. I'll tell you one thing, the first time I applied to medical school, I didn't get in. And I it was really heartbreaking for me. I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm losing a year of my life. Like, how am I going to come back from this?" But I just collected myself, and then I tried again, and then this time it hit. So that just shows that obstacles will hit you at every and any path, and sometimes it'll feel like they're all hitting you all at once. Especially in medical school, and in third year of medical school, you're going through all these extremely difficult rotations, and sometimes it feels like one bad day after another. But you got to keep your eyes on the prize and like why you wanted to do this in the first place. I knew that I wanted to be a doctor, and I knew I wasn't going to give up on that no matter how many tries that took. So that's my advice that I would give. Like, if you want to do something, like, don't give up. It will pay off in the end. Maybe it won't be as amazing as you want it to be. Like, for example, like me going into medical school. Okay, maybe it's not an Ivy League medical school. Maybe it's not the number one medical school. But guess what? I go to a pretty good medical school, and I'm still going to be able to do the career that I want in the end. Finding a balance between what you want and how you need to get there, that's part of the biggest challenge, and kind of mitigating your energy to make sure that you're not burning yourself out, but you're still not giving up, and taking care of yourself at the same time. And it sounds like it's a lot, but it is a lot, and nothing good ever comes easy. So just don't give up. That's what I would say. There will be so many obstacles, but if you don't give up, you will find your a place where you're happy.
Definitely love the constant theme of persistence, not giving up, and
Yeah.
also that balance in all aspects of life. So thank you so much to IKSHA for speaking to our girls about her journey in medicine and writing. And thank you so much for watching. Please let us know if you want our next Connect events to be in other industries and things like that. Thank you.